Howdy folks, welcome back to the woods. It is a little after 6:30 in the morning. I am on the Greenwater Lakes Trail. We're gonna head up to Lost Lake this morning. It's a little over a 5-mile hike. I believe there's about 2,500 feet of elevation gain to get up there. Got a light rain, but the forecast says that it's supposed to lighten up by this afternoon. Every time I'm on this trail, I'm just amazed by just how gorgeous it is. It's when I think about the Pacific Northwest and hiking, this is what I imagine, and this is what I hope others think of when they think of the Pacific Northwest. Right? We're not all tech giants and coffee companies. We are beautiful, pristine wilderness. Just amazing. Yeah, I am way too warm. So I started out thinking that it was going to be a little cooler than it is. And this summer when I was in the Philippines, I picked up a bunch of new gear from Decathlon that I wanted to try out. And this is the Quencha mid-layer. It's just a nice lightweight windbreaker. Super soft and cozy. It's got a built-in hood, tons of extra zippers and pockets, and incredibly lightweight and incredibly warm. So I don't think I'm going to need this anymore. I'm actually kind of a walking advertisement for Decathlon today, because this is also a Decathlon shirt and got my Decathlon pants. Needless to say, I got a little excited when I was at a store and picked up just about everything I could get away with putting in a bag before my wife said my time was up. So anyways, I'm gonna switch out, grab a quick breakfast. I've got some dehydrated bananas and apple chips that I made a couple of days ago, and then we'll head back up to Lost Lake. I've also got a little treat that we're gonna try out when we get up to the lake. I've been experimenting lately with making dehydrated backpacking meals. As you guys know, I complain all the time about not only the flavor, but the price of the dehydrated meals. And a fellow hiker and adventurer, Adventure with Spencer, said, "Hey, have you thought about getting your own dehydrator?" So, Spencer, I blame you for my impulse buy a few weeks ago in the middle of the night. But I did pick up a little food dehydrator that I've been just playing, right? It's as the apples were falling off the trees this year, I kept slicing them up and throwing them in there just to get used to the way the settings work. And this weekend, I guess 2 days ago, I came up with a new backpacking meal that I really wanted to try out. It's a vegan curry with rice meal. And I found it is a fraction of the weight of the pre-purchased meals and a fraction of the cost. I actually have this thing down to sub $1 in order to make my meal that has all the calorie intake I need, all the flavor you could ever possibly hope for, and the packability of a dehydrated meal. So once we get up to the lake, we'll fire up the stove and try that out. All right, we are officially on the Lost Lake Trail. I think it's 2.5 miles up to the lake, and a little over 2,000 feet of elevation. This rain is exactly what we needed. It's the heart of wildfire season right now, and it's been a bad one for the Northwest. Seems like every year we're saying that, right? It's another bad year, or it's a worse year than last year. So we could definitely use the rain. It does kind of change the plans for hiking, but in the grand scheme of things, just another great downpour would be fantastic. I'm actually surrounded by wildfires where I'm at today. Very safe. I'm outside of the danger zone. But you can smell it in the air a little bit, and maybe that's part of my wheezing. Use that as an excuse. But all in all, it's nice to see the light, refreshing rain of fall starting to freshen things up and hopefully help the firefighters out in their projects. So that is Quinn Lake in the background. A little side trail that'll take you down to the lake, and actually it's a little bit bigger than I thought. From what I can see, it looks like there's a bit of a rocky shore on one side of it, and trees creating a natural dam on the other. Might be a neat camping place. Don't know if there's any flat land around here, but we are just coming up over what I think may be the last of our peaks on this hike. Getting close. We're passing through an area that was impacted by the Norse Peak fires 2 years ago, I believe. Just amazing to see there's still areas of just ash on the ground, trees burnt to the stumps. But at the same time, there is new growth everywhere. There's new trees that have started to shoot up. Plants are coming back, and nature is reclaiming this. Right, I see the lake. And I hear voices, which means we may have some campers up here. So we're going to do our best to not disturb their campsite. I'm going to continue this trail and try and get down to the lake, where we'll find a place to set up and resupply and water. Knock off about 1,000 of these cobwebs I've picked up this morning. Then we'll get some early lunch, late breakfast started. So on a foggy, drizzly day like today, it may not seem like it, but this has been a long, hot, dry summer. And I'm actually standing in where I think the middle of the lake should be. Looking at the water levels or tide lines, it looks like we are about 10 feet below where the normal high water mark is here in the lake. So I get that rare opportunity to slog through some of the mud and explore areas you wouldn't ordinarily see. Pretty awesome. Pretty awesome indeed. You get all the way out here, hear nothing for hours, and you love the peace and quiet. Finally get to the lake and there's airplanes. That lake water is warm. It actually felt warmer than the ambient temperature here. And I'm thinking we're probably about 60, maybe 65 degrees right now. So it's like bath water in there. If there weren't so many people around, I would consider jumping in. It gets really deep really fast. Just right off the edge there where I refilled my bottle here, it dropped down to what looked like about 10 feet, just within a foot or two. So that explains why there's still water in it this time of year. There's 2 or 3 little creeks that seem to be flowing into the lake, and there's a little bit of water, but I don't know how much of that's just runoff from last night and how much is year-round. So I've been experimenting recently, playing around with a food dehydrator, because if you've watched any of my other videos, you know I'm always complaining about the price of camping food or the flavor of the dehydrated meals. And then I got a bit of a whim inspired by a friend, and I went out and I bought a dehydrator, and I wanted to see if I could start making my own dehydrated backpacking meals that taste better, and I can control the price and some of the nutritional value. So this is my first attempt. This is a vegan curry that I made. It has red kidney beans, green lentils, a lot of onion, garlic, and all kinds of spices. And I know I'm supposed to use basmati rice, but all I had in the cupboard was jasmine rice. So the flavor palette's a little bit different. It does have a little bit of a spice, but it's a very mild flavor. I've actually had this for dinner the last 2 nights. I cooked up a big batch on Friday night, and before I threw it into the dehydrator, and it was a serving for 10. So I did two ready-made meals, and then had it for dinner on Friday night. My wife had it for dinner, and I had it for dinner again last night. So by the end of this weekend, I'm going to be tired of curry, but that's what we have. So this one little meal has about 500 calories in it. I think I just need to add 300 milliliters of water. So I'm going to bring some water up to a boil with this in the water. That's going to help rapidly rehydrate. Once it's up to a boil, we'll put the lid back on, we'll shut it off, and then the hard part, I'm going to have to wait 5 or 10 minutes for the rice and everything to fully rehydrate. It's always tough, but I've got snacks while we wait. Okay, I am glad I decided to bring along and test out this Quencha jacket, because when you stop moving, it is cold. But this thing is nice. It is super, super thin material. Very breathable, but it's enough to just kind of trap in some of the heat and keep it close to your body, but nice and moisture wicking at the same time. And in a light drizzle like this, it's actually doing a pretty good job as a, just a bit of a moisture barrier. I think if I was in any kind of a heavy rain, obviously I'd want to pull on my raincoat, which I brought a rain jacket that I was going to test out today also, but I haven't had to yet. This is the Decathlon, also Quencha style raincoat, and this is a full zip jacket, and it's got its own built-in bag. What I like about this is it is super ultra lightweight and incredibly packable. I mean, it packs down next to nothing. The only drawback that I found so far is it doesn't have the standard pit zips that I've had in my North Face jacket. So I am a little worried that I might build up a little too much moisture and heat if I wear it while I'm hiking, because as you know, I am a hot, sweaty guy when I hike. But I don't know, I don't think we're gonna even get a chance to try this out today. And I'm not complaining. I was not looking forward to having to hike in a heavy rainstorm. But I have it just in case. And I don't know, let's take a look and see if this lunch is ready to go, because I am hungry. And I'm thinking this will help warm me up. Okay, so we are right at 10 minutes to fully rehydrate this. Yep, the rice is nice and soft. Kidney beans are soft, and those lentils turned into just a nice hearty paste. The one thing that I wish I had was a little bit more coriander in this, but I think I might just be getting a little picky at that point. I will leave a list of what the recipe is and how I did the dehydration in the first place. A lot of these ingredients you could actually dehydrate separately and store and then combine for different recipes. I went ahead and mixed it all up and cooked it before I dehydrated it, just because I wanted to test out the flavors before, you know, it's part of experimenting. But all in all, it turned out delicious. And as a first attempt, I'm quite satisfied. So before I get too carried away with lunch, let me give you some stats of where we're at so far. Using my Onyx app to track this one. So it was 3 hours and 27 minutes to get up here. I averaged 1.9 miles an hour. So there is nothing fast about the way I'm hiking. Part of that is because of stopping to film along the way. Once I think I've got the most beautiful sight and I take a picture, then I realize, oops, turn around, there's another gorgeous spot. So anyways, 3 hours, 27 minutes, 1.9 miles an hour for my speed. I did a total of 6.38 miles. So the route that I mapped out on Onyx was showing, I think it was like 5.6, 5.7, but I mean, I guess that 6.38 might be some of my little side excursions and explorations. And I only gained 1,600 feet in elevation. Now that's not showing the cumulative, right? That's just from where I started to where I am now. I'm 1,693 feet higher than the trailhead. But that means I've got another 6.38 miles to walk back to the truck, which means I need to finish up lunch, do some dishes, and probably get moving because it's almost 10 o'clock and I'm supposed to be home here pretty soon. I guess I should add, as I'm cleaning up here, when I did the cost breakdown of what it cost to make this meal, added up all the ingredients, divided by the 8 servings that it really should have made. I probably could do 10 servings, but we'll call it 8, a little bit generous portions. And I came up to about 97 cents per serving. So if you think about that for a minute, when you look at your average backpacking dehydrated meal, I looked at a couple of different curry meals to do a comparison, and the average I found was $14.95. So you can go buy something from the store for $14.95, stress-free. It's done for you. You can even cook it in the pouch, so you don't have to do any dishes when you're done. Or for 97 cents and a little bit of preparation ahead of time, you can make yourself a great backpacking meal that has no waste, because it all just went into one little Ziploc bag. There's nothing to throw away when I'm done. I'm going to take that bag home. I'm going to be able to add another meal into it and reuse it, repurpose it as many times as I want before that bag finally wears out. So 97 cents, zero waste, or $14.95 and the ease of having a boil bag. You guys make that choice. For me, it's kind of a no-brainer. I think I'm going to continue to do more and more of these dehydrated meals. But I am almost packed up. Dishes are done. Food's getting stuffed away. I'm going to clean up, run back down to the lake and refill my water bottle one more time. And then we'll head back out onto the trail. All right, I am all packed up and ready to go. So it is time to say goodbye to this foggy, drizzly Lost Lake. And that's it for me today, folks. So until next time, hope to see you out there on the trail soon. Let's go for a walk. Okay, mission accomplished. For those of you that are curious, it was 6 hours and 36 minutes, 12.3 miles. I averaged 1.9 miles per hour, and I had a total elevation gain of 3,331 feet. Total elevation loss, 3,375 feet. So all in all, it was a great hike, and it's still noon, which means I've got plenty of time to get home and get my chores done.